Welcome to this training module on how to use nested output in Worc. In real-time automation scenarios, nested outputs can come from variables, API responses, AI model responses, or outputs generated from other nodes within the workflow. For this training, we will use JSON files as the source of the nested output so that we can clearly understand how nested data can be accessed and processed inside Worc. Before we start the workflow execution, let's first understand the structure of the two JSON files used in this example. The first file contains a single nested object inside the output field. At the top level, we have fields such as transaction ID, status, and timestamp. Inside the output object, we have multiple nested sections. The product info object contains product-related details like name and brand. The customer details object contains customer-related information such as customer name and order status. Apart from these nested objects, we also have review and rating fields inside the output object. Since the output contains only one object, we can directly access the nested properties using JSON content token expressions. Now let's move to the workflow. We use the read JSON file activity to read the first JSON file from the local system. Once executed, the activity generates two outputs, JSON content string and JSON content token. JSON content token variable is especially useful because it allows us to directly access nested JSON properties. Now let's see how nested values are retrieved. Let us add a display message. Here, we access the product name from the JSON using this expression. This expression navigates through the JSON hierarchy step by step. First, it accesses the output object. Inside that, it accesses product info. Finally, it retrieves the name property. When executed, the message box displays the product name, wireless headphones. Next, another display message activity retrieves the customer name. Again, JSON content token contains the complete JSON structure. First, we access the output object. Inside output, we access customer details. Customer details is another nested object containing customer-related information. Then, we access the customer name field from that object. The value returned here is David. This demonstrates how we can access nested customer information from the JSON structure. The next display message retrieves the review field. In this case, review is directly available inside the output object. So, after accessing output, we directly retrieve the review field without navigating through another nested object. This is useful when extracting additional details from nested JSON responses. So far, we have learned how to access individual nested values from a single nested object. Now let's look at the second JSON file. This file also contains transaction details at the top level. However, the main difference is that the output field is now an array containing multiple objects. Each object inside the array represents a separate product review entry. Every item contains product info, customer details, review, and rating. Because output is an array, we cannot directly access all values at once. Instead, we use a loop to iterate through each object individually. For that, let's move to handling arrays and looping through nested JSON objects. We use another read JSON file activity to read the second JSON file containing multiple records inside the output array. Again, the JSON content is stored in JSON content token variable. Since there are multiple records inside the array, we cannot directly access all values using a single expression. To process each object one by one, we use the loop activity configured as a for each loop. Inside the loop activity, the loop type is set to for each loop. This tells Worc to iterate through every item available in the provided list. Next, in the list variable name field, we provide the expression. This means the loop will iterate through each item inside the output array. The loop automatically creates two variables, current item and current item index. Current item represents the current JSON object being processed. Inside the loop, we use a display message activity to retrieve values from each object. Here, current item represents the current object inside the loop. From that object, we access the product info section and then retrieve the name field. And from this expression for customer name, the customer's name is extracted. In this example, the loop will execute 3 times because the output array contains 3 objects. First iteration, wireless headphones and David. Second iteration, Bluetooth speaker and Sarah. Third iteration, smartwatch and Peter. This is one of the most powerful advantages of loops when working with nested JSON arrays. This approach is extremely useful when working with API responses, activity outputs, workflow variables, or any nested JSON structure containing multiple entries. To summarize, nested outputs can originate from variables, APIs, or outputs from other workflow nodes. In this training, we used JSON files to simulate nested outputs. We learned how to work with both a single nested object and an array of nested objects. This is how nested output handling works in Worc. Thank you for watching this training module. We have learned how to use nested output in Worc Agent Builder. Continue exploring the platform to build more intelligent automation workflows.